One city. One club. We're back. The time is now.
Welcome everyone, it's National Geordie Day. Happy Geordie Day to all those that are out there. 16th of July apparently now is from the 2015 year. It's now seen as National Geordie Day. So welcome one and all to NUFC Talk TV with myself, the Geordie Yam Yam, Gary, as well as the Mighty Win sitting with me today. It's listen, it never rains till it pours, apparently, according to a lot of them up in the northeast, and there's lots of crap still out there in the news world of Isak wanting to leave and everything else. So we're going to have a look into some of the stories and obviously some of the headlines. But before we get into all the show, let's have a quick look at the housework and we'll crack on. So again, welcome to everybody that's watching across all of the platforms. Thanks to everybody that works in the background. Don't forget, please, if you can, hit that like button. It just helps us get further as a show. Subscribe, it's totally free. Hit the bell for future content. And obviously, if you want to become a member, help us grow a little bit more, you can do. Small monthly fee, different levels, blah, blah, blah. And once you become a member, you can then jump on board and become part of the Prediction League team. Again, it's a bit of a prize at the end of it. So it's a small fee to start. Then you can predict your scores for each Premier League game that Newcastle are involved with. And if you win at the top...
Cup game.
And Cup games, of course, yeah. I thought it was just Premier League. Is it Cup games as well?
No, Cup games as well.
Oh, there you go.
I've got a bit of a neck over here.
Have you? I can't. You sound good to me.
Oh, well, that's okay.
And obviously, if you've got a question for me, I will win. Then obviously put a Q in front of that question. But it ain't guaranteed to be mentioned. Obviously, there's lots of people in the chat. So if you want to guarantee it, then use the $sign, follow the instructions, and obviously we will guarantee that message read out. And anybody that becomes a member during the show or any of our beautiful members that gift them out will also be highlighted and thanked as we go on. So there we go. I suppose the first thing we need to do is obviously you put up in the chat that we have Romano has seen our Sean in his
Leeds top.
His Leeds top, which is I suppose everybody's going to be looking at this one and saying, I thought at first it was probably one that had been photoshopped, but as you can see at the bottom there, here we go, and that's from Romano's website himself. So it looks like the 12 million plus 3. He's going on. I mean, obviously, he's doing his medical. I can't see there being any issues there. Well, yeah, I know you've got. You've sent a Leeds fan all his stats that you used to keep showing on the screen. So it is going to be an interesting one. And like I say, I think he'll do a job for Leeds in the middle of the park. I just don't think he's where we need to be. Obviously, to keep Leeds, and again, this is what they've got to try and achieve, isn't it? It's status, Premier League status. So it's not a case of them winning anything. It's about building a side that will keep them up in the Premier League. So I think he'll be a good addition for them.
Yeah, I agree with you. They could do a lot worse. I just think he's a very similar player to me to what McTominay was at Man United. And look what he's done since he left Man United. He's gone to Napoli and he's won Player of the Year in Serie A. Now, anybody looking at him would have said, no way.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I think it's a great move for Sean because, like I say, I think he realises now he's become, sixth choice.
Yeah, well, his last start for us was Chelsea away.
Away, yeah, exactly.
And, at his age, he should be doing better than that. He needs more time. But it's unfortunate that we've got three of the best midfielders in the country.
Yeah. And
Standing
like I
in his
say,
way.
and a good up and coming midfielder.
And Lewis Miley, who obviously we want to bring through.
Yeah, absolutely. As Alan's just put in the chat there, that I believe the second bid now has gone in for EKITIKE. And there's lots of rumours.
Going to be bullied by the big red machine.
Yeah. I mean, it is crazy. Like our current situation. I was watching your chat last night. And like this seems to be like the flame that ever gets bigger, isn't it? You know, we start the bidding, and we've seen this before with like the likes of Mamouche that we were very heavily linked to, and then obviously Man City came in and picked our pockets, and it seems as if that seems to be the thing these days. We take a step forward, and obviously now Chelsea are interested, and you know, if you were a Chelsea player now, you know, they've just signed Joe Pedro, it's done very well, Delap. And now they're looking at EKITIKE themselves. You know, you start saying to yourself, if you're a player at Chelsea, where do you play? When do you play? It's crazy, isn't it? And if you've got, I mean, if you're not just going for the money, which obviously it sounds very much like a lot of players do, why the hell would you go to Chelsea?
Well, here's the thing about Chelsea, right? Okay, they did very well last season. And they rotated their squad completely. They played a completely different team in the Conference League to what they did in the Premier League. So they got rotated. You can't do that in the Champions League.
No.
The quality of opposition in the Champions League means that you can't just bench all your good players and get through with, albeit, you know, the reserves they've got. I don't know if you saw the tweet with the new Chelsea team bus.
Yeah,
a four-decker futuristic looking thing with players hanging off all over the place.
Yeah. It is quality. It is a strange one, like I say. But these are the guys now that will understand and put pressure on the price, and that's, you know, where Frankfurt have got the stronghold, because, as you quite rightly said, they don't need to sell.
Yeah.
You know, they've got the money in the bank from previous sales, so the pressure's on everybody else who's willing to put the money forward. And by all accounts, Liverpool, obviously, even though they've inquired with Isak regarding the £120 million, having spent over 200 million already, it makes me wonder and question whether they've actually got the money in the pocket to do so, or whether it was just a fire across the bows to see if there was going to be any movement.
If there was a chink, no.
Yeah, in the armour. And obviously,
Frankfurt, they've got something going on there, pretty damn good, because bear in mind, they sold Marmouche, who was one of the best players, to Man City in winter, and they still finished third in the Bundesliga.
In the Bundesliga,
Bundesliga is a proper league. It's not a farmers' league. So to finish just behind Dortmund and Bayern, that's some achievement, especially when you've sold arguably your best. They might say EKITIKE is the best player. Well, price would suggest that is the case. But to sell a player the quality of Marmouche and still finish third was a hell of an achievement. And of course, they got to the conference final the year before against West Ham.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, you know, you have got to start looking at, you know, it's good business from Frankfurt, because they pick up, you know, EKITIKE. What was he? Something crazy, like £20 million or something silly.
That's right. Lots of add-ons.
A lot of add-ons, but they seem to be picking up. Yeah. It's the Coutinho money, Gary. Yeah, exactly. It is crazy though to think that, like I say, you know, apparently Nunes is going, and obviously Diaz. There's question.
The only thing about Nunes is he was allegedly going to Napoli.
Yeah,
and that deal is now falling through apparently.
Well, this is what makes me wonder whether they're reliant on. I mean, you know, if they're reliant on money coming in now, Liverpool, they've obviously declined the bid on Diaz. Which I didn't see. I didn't think that was a bad initial bid for Diaz, to be fair. And obviously they come in to see what Isak is. Now, obviously, the one thing that actually gets right up my goat, and it really does irritate me, was when you start looking at the media now, right? Jumping on board with Isak wants the move, right? Now, I have not seen or heard, I mean, I read this morning that Isak has stopped Newcastle saying no to the £120 million bid. Now, I've not seen that in anything, in any major publication. This is just something that's out there that people are pushing the void, if you like. And apparently Isak now has come out and said he's not going to say no to the move. Now, what I read this morning, and again, you know, you start following links down the chain, was, believe it or not, was from the Star. Now, what they have actually done is they've got quite a big, headline. Alexander Isak is already shown true feelings on Liverpool as Newcastle brace for the 120 million bid, right? So that's the headlines. But actually, when you read the article all comes down to when he was questioned about the atmosphere. So this was his words, and these are in speech marks. The atmosphere is very special. Now, at the minute, he's talking about, it was an interview he did on Amazon Prime. When asked about his favourite grounds, he demonstrated his loyalty to his current club, saying that he's not many places like St James's Park. And then he goes on to say, the atmosphere is very special, and I think you can judge a stadium not just on the atmosphere, but how difficult it is to come as an away team. It's a special place. I think people have a hard time coming to this stadium. However, and this is where the link, right, of him wanting to go to Liverpool all comes from. Isak also mentioned Anfield as another formidable stadium, adding, I'd say Anfield is probably up there as well. The atmosphere is really good. It's probably the toughest away game for us. Really, can you actually? I mean, I'm flabbergasted by just him saying that the stadium atmosphere is good. Obviously, means in the media world for them to get these headlines, he's interested in the move. I can't get my hat on, and I was listening to Talk Shite the other day, yesterday, and Howard was on there saying that Liverpool are a bigger club and you shouldn't stop Isak from going. And I bet you, if you was to ask Isak outright, he'd want to go and play for Liverpool. He'd want to go and play for the best team in the country. I mean, it just drives you mental. Us being always talking about there's a small club.
Excellent article in Football 365 today, and it said, obviously, I've just got an advert over the top. Obviously, there's clicks gold in them there Alexander, Isak and Liverpool headline hills this morning. Like Marcus Rashford said yesterday, Isak is a name that carries more than enough SEO heft that it cannot be concealed. And it goes on to say, to the surprise of quite literally nobody, it's to the mirror we must travel. The headline, Alexander Isak has made Liverpool feelings clear as Reds plan record move for Newcastle stall. Season headline studios will already have leapt upon the use of the present perfect tense, has made, rather than the more straightforward present tense, makes. Yeah. And it said, so it was really careless of him to let that little transfer detail slip in January 2024. That was when he made the atmosphere is really good at Anfield comment.
Yeah, exactly.
January 2024.
And they're still hanging on to it.
And yet it's practically a done deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I don't know who mentioned it. Somebody mentioned about that Liverpool fan, the guy who was doing the tears. He's actually gone online now and he's bigging it up, saying, thank you type of thing and what we've done for you and everything else. And it's like, what the hell? It's absolutely crazy.
And also, I'm so pissed off with him for this whole, well, sell with Isak, or we're going to go in for EKITIKE, as though that'll
Bullies,
just be
mate.
a done deal. That'll
Yeah,
just be a
it's all
done deal.
bullies.
If you don't sell with Isak, we're going to go for EKITIKE.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say,
this morning we have put in an improved written bid
yeah,
for EKITIKE.
EKITIKE, yeah, exactly. And I think that is
Wouldn't
exactly
it
where
be
we come.
beautiful for us
Oh,
to get him and retain Isak?
Absolutely. And obviously 80s Gamers put in their new Isak contract in the works, apparently. Now, obviously, what's come to light, and again, we've got no evidence on this. It literally is just a lot of media spec and probably ITK spec. It's Mitchell who has been the bit of a, I suppose, the drop in the ocean now because he's gone, but he's the one who scuppered the contract negotiations. Obviously, it was the Amanda and Mirdad promise that Isak was looking for. And according to all of the rumours out there, it was Mitchell saying that he's not worth the extra money. Now, I cannot believe that somebody of Mitchell's stature would come out and say that, because that is a detriment to obviously a player who, at the time, Newcastle heavily relied on to finish where we did in the Premier League, as well as get a title, even though it's the Carabao Cup. It was something that puts them all in a different light. But it certainly throws a bit of a shadow over Mitchell's stay, doesn't it?
Well, I just think there's no way Craig Hope is going to say that if it's not true. If he hasn't had it from a very, very good source.
Yeah.
Because he's laying himself he's laying the mail wide open to a libel.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he ain't gonna say that if it's not true.
No, I mean, if he'd have come onto his YouTube channel and just done his own YouTube thing, then you could take it as a pinch of salt. But this is literally
printed in the mirror.
In the mail. In the mirror. Sorry.
In the mail. Sorry.
Yeah. That's where you've got to start asking the question. There's got to be some meat on the bone, hasn't there? And it seems as if he's caused. And I was a massive Mitchell man. Like I say, I'm not going to sit here and
pedigree. That's when he came in. So was I, but it didn't take me long for to change my mind.
Well, it's like I said. The proof's always going to be on the job that he's done, rather than and literally the only job he seems to have done is make a lot of unrest within the group.
Well, certainly within the first team, you could argue he did well for the women, and we've got a lot of promising recruits. I use the word promising recruits in the under 21s, but whether any of them will actually come, because we've paid reasonably big money for some of them, and whether any of them are going to come through, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you hear that in the background? For some unknown reason, that keeps playing. I apologise if you could hear that out there in viewerland. Are you going to put it on your full screen then? This thing
I can't. For some reason,
can't do it.
Upload.
Well, I mean, I've got it, and this you've just sent me this. This is ESPN.
Yes, Don Hutchinson.
Don Hutchinson on ESPN. So I'm just going to put this out there. And apologies, I can't make it any bigger. So you're just going to have to bear with me. And I will put the sound up to the best I can. It's very low in sound quality.
And bear in mind, this was based on Monday's news.
Yeah.
Before Liverpool came in for Isak. So this is Don Hutchinson working on the assumption that Newcastle are going to sign EKITIKE to play with Isak, and what formation Eddie would adopt.
Yeah. Right, let's put it on. Like I say, it's very small, and I apologise because I can't get it any bigger. But this is, and again, let me know if you guys, because I have sometimes it doesn't link up to my sound for some unknown reason. So let me know in the chat if you guys can hear this. Okay.
Absolutely, and he will be the one that fires Newcastle to a Premier League title. Him and Isak this season.
Very quiet.
No, I love him. As I said before, he's like João Pedro. I like that centre forward. That's very reliable. Being a midfield player myself, and Stevie will understand. It's very important that you've got a centre forward that can link the play and can play the width of the 18-yard box and is reliable, so you can make your runs off him, and he's trustworthy. Also, on top of all the talent that he's got. And I think the biggest difference when you compare him to Darwin Núñez is Darwin Núñez is very erratic, and he's fast-paced in front of goal, where EKITIKE is that little bit slower. Now, trying to find a formation where they can all get in, this is what I've come up with. I don't think a 4-4-2 would suit Newcastle because their strength is the three boys in midfield, so I wouldn't have thought Eddie Howe would move away into a 4-4-2 and lose one of those three. So it looks to me, if Isak stays and EKITIKE stays, that's the system, the 3-5-2 that they could play. Inter Milan played that, Inzaghi played that, and they played that with two centre forwards. So, I mean,
right. Well, again, I couldn't see everybody in the chat. It's just too low. Hold on, because you're deafening me now. I had my sound up as high as I possibly could there.
Right.
So just bear with me a second.
What it was his formation that interested me.
And it's really funny, though, because it's what we saw. And again, apologies because it's very small on the screen there. What he's got is he's got Botman, Byrne and Shaw, obviously, because we haven't recruited another centre-back yet. Then he's got Gordon, more or less as a left wing-back, and Elanga as the right wing-back. And then you've got your three midfielders, Bruno, Tonali and J7. And then you've got EKITIKE as a left forward and Isak as a right forward. Really strange, but a lot of European clubs, big clubs, do something very similar. And as we saw at the end of last season, we saw already starting to tinker with his formation, playing three at the back. But obviously, the only thing that I look at this is you've got two very good young fullbacks, and this is what I keep saying. The biggest problem is with building a squad is somebody's got to be left out. Now, again, I wouldn't be 100% sure on Gordon's or Elanga's defensive attributions. And obviously he's put it down as a flat three in the middle. I don't think that would happen. I think you'd have obviously Tonali sitting in the six with 2 8s, backing up both EKITIKE and Isak. What that does give you, though, is obviously we have got that cover. And we saw when we played the likes of Chelsea, where you get one of the left or right centre-backs stepping up. And we've seen the Dan Burn interview where he says at a certain point, we'll just move. So that's something that Eddie will work on. But I often look at this and I think to myself, Gordon and Elanga as wing-backs, are you missing out on that attack threat round the higher up the field? But it is certainly something that we've seen Eddie work with, and I think it could
playing without Tino or without Lewis Hall.
Without Lewis Hall, yeah, exactly. It is but again, this is what we keep saying. It just goes to show bringing two players into the system, if you like, how different your team can look all of a sudden. I mean, except your back three and your mid three. But your team can all of a sudden just change its dynamics. And like I say, for me, what you've got there is very much a very, very strong system. And I think, like I say, again, with the small adaptations, you can make, just the 2 acquisitions. If you make just 2, if we end up not having the money to go on, it just proves, what you've got. And maybe that's another thing, do we have to wait now till January before we bring anybody else in? Because according to the reports this morning, Newcastle made some money over the winter. 168 million, I believe it is.
Well, everybody got 96.8 or something, and our facilities fee and broadcasting additional bit was 46 million or something like that.
So we secured a huge 160.2.
We were 5th.
Yeah.
in the earning league.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, 96.9 million for is guaranteed. That's banked. So obviously you put that in, but like you said, earning what we did for finishing fifth, 42.4. International broadcasters and took home playing at home facility fee was 20.9. So for me that is money in the bank, isn't it? And like you said, now we've got on board the Sean Longstaff money, and that virtually pays for Ilanga's first year. So he's virtually come for the first year free on that score. So that should give us that little bit of clearance to go and throw this 86 million release clause towards EKITIKE.
Well, that's right. And you're saying, will we have to wait until January to spend this money, etc.? Listen, cash flow is not our problem. PIF have got all the money in the world. So cash flow is not the problem. And January's window still comes within this financial year, so we can spend it, even if we don't get the actual dosh of the Premier League until whenever. That is not Newcastle's problem. No. Newcastle's problem is we are not allowed to spend more than we earn in the financial year.
In the financial year, yeah, exactly. But I mean, it just goes on, doesn't it? What we've got actually to play with now. And like I say, the EKITIKE deal obviously looks as though that's rolling forward with this next bid. And again, it's only rumoured out there that they are getting close to this 86 million mark. And whether that's a down payment of 75 and then add-ons after that, I don't know, depending on obviously how they finish within next season. But it very, very much looks like the way Keith Downey was talking to his Sky counterparts over in Germany, that it's very favourable now in Newcastle's hands. So it's like I said.
Yeah, I'm seeing lots of reports that are saying, Newcastle are looking good, and very few saying Liverpool are in for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seems very much now like this could have been just a little bit of a smokescreen, and I've just put this literally just happened now, and again, these aren't anybody famous or anything else, so I don't look at it. But Ornstein has just come out and put down Liverpool contact Eintracht Frankfurt over a possible move for Hugo EKITIKE working on
easy for you to say.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like that they have made contact with the potential. So again, is this something that we need to move quick on? So that is where we are at the minute. But it looks like it is in our hands, because all Liverpool have done the same as they did to Newcastle, is they've just contacted the club to say, what's the current situation. So it's going to be an interesting couple of hours, I think. I suppose what I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat. I don't know whether you've had a chance to.
I haven't. No, I've been trying
pin
to
anything.
Make sorted.
Chris Hoskins saying Gary 4-2-3-1 would work. Isak can play 10. He does it for Swindon. Yeah, we said that. But what I was saying, Chris, was there's such a rotation and flexibility within the squad with just two players coming in. So, if we can go down the line as bringing in a decent midfielder now. Now we've lost Lungi. And, I mean, obviously there's talk about Gallagher coming in. There's a lot of people sat on the fence with Gallagher. Some people don't like him.
There's a lot of people who's not even sat on the fence.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people like yourself that have a bit of an admiration for the guy.
Yeah,
I've never really, he's never blew my frock up, put it that way. And I've said that to you before, haven't I? But I know you've got a fondness about him. But
well, I did the comparison, between him and Ollie. We all love Tonali, and Gallagher stacks up very favourable. That was comparing his Chelsea season in the Prem.
In the Prem, yeah, exactly.
His last season at Chelsea with the last season for Tonali, and he stacks up you know, a lot of the stats he's better than Toon Army.
Yeah, you see, Stevie Cook's going to what I said. You know, the 4-4-2 allows you to have that extra midfielder on the bench too. So I agree with you, Steve. I think even like maybe a rotational 4-4-2 rather than the old-fashioned 4-4-2 square. I think what you'd have is
for me a 4-4-2, which can morph into a 4-2-4, and just play the double pivot.
well, that's what you get, isn't it? With Elanga
or Toon Army and J7, whoever, you know, Bruno J7, because we need to have that rotation. We're going to be playing a lot of games.
Yeah, you see, but what a 4-4-2 gives you is a 4-2-3-1 at times. You know, it gives you so many angles. And that's what I like about a 4-4-2. You've got to have fluidity. You've got to be flexible. And I am 100% sure that Eddie will be looking at something like this. But I still don't think, and I'll say it now, 3 at the back is going to go away, because I think in Europe, a lot of European teams play a similar system. So, like I say, I think in the Premier League, you'll probably see this fluid 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-2-4, as Wynne said. But I think it'll be a bit different to someone else. But yeah, I agree with you, Steve. What else was there I saw in here that I quite liked? Hiddy Esther was talking about Lewis Hall and Tino. 3-5-2 makes no sense without them in the side, because, you know, where do you fit everybody? So, but again, this is what I said to you. It does give players the chance to have a rest as well, because you've got like-for-like players hitting the same thing. When Wemel said he likes playing at St James's Park, does it mean he's anything? Clearly, it's just words. That's what I'm saying.
Too late was the cry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will de Gunst there. Hello, Will de Gunst.
Hello.
Haven't seen you in the chat before. Welcome. Do you think that Newcastle should sell Isak for 130 million this summer, or wait until next summer and get less money for him? Well, I think we shouldn't sell him this summer, and I think next summer he could be worth even more, despite the fact that he's got a year less on his contract. He's still contracted until 2028, so there's still, 2 years on his contract after the end of next season. And if he has another season like he's had this season and last season, he'll be worth more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by then, if we've won something again and qualified for the Champions League again, and maybe Liverpool don't win the title, let's see if they've got the same sort of pull as they have now whilst they are title holders.
Yeah, well, again, no reports on this out there, but again, heavily linked on Transfer Focus. We've got the Harvey Elliott scenario come back. And we were talking while we were off air in the green room about, I wonder whether Liverpool are going to be offering 110, 120 million plus Harvey Elliott. And would you accept it? Because obviously that gives you another thing. The only problem with that is, I'd say a problem, it's not a problem, but you've still then got to go out and find another striker, backup striker to EKITIKE that's going to be coming our way, hopefully. And you're in the same situation. You know what I mean? You're in the same situation as you were before, apart from you're having to bleed another player into a system that's fresh. So I don't know whether it would work, but obviously there's a rumour out there that obviously 2 hours ago that Harvey Elliott was very much rumoured. One of Newcastle's favourite players to look at. Again, not going to say where it's come from, because like I say, a lot of it's BS. But it is an interesting one. Elliott ain't all that, according to Stephen Mugford. I quite like Harvey Elliott.
Harvey Elliott's a good player.
I like Harvey Elliott. I think he gives you that variety again. He can play in a variation of roles, and he certainly knows where the back of the net is. But you got to ask yourself, Steve. Sorry if I'm calling you Steve and you don't like it, but is he an upgrade on Sean Longstaff? Because that's you know what I mean. That's what you've got to ask yourself. That's the top and bottom of it, isn't it? Is he an upgrade on Sean Longstaff? And obviously, I think we all know the answer to that one. Elliott
I
doesn't
mean, to be
have the
fair, it's
running power. Yeah.
a different sort of player to Sean, but
Well, Iniesta's saying that, doesn't have the running power for our system. He's slower than Bruno. Now, Harvey Barnes doesn't have the running power. And this is what I said. When you're playing in a system like playing three at the back, your recovery runs don't have to be what we're expecting them to be. When you play a 4-4-2 and you've obviously pushed on and the ball gets turned over, then that's when you need them recovery runs back. So again, sometimes I think, that's what we were saying the other day, wasn't it? We talk about the change in personnel from being pacey to being a slow build-up. There's going to be teams and players that can do either role. Now, for me, do you play Gordon and Elanga all pace? Or do you put on the likes of Harvey Barnes to, slow it down on one end and have pace on the other? There's a variation to absolutely anything now from the
this
wings.
is when it's all down to Eddie now.
That's what I said. The pressure is going to be on Eddie now to
without
actually
doubt,
come
and
forth.
rightly so.
Phil's just talking there, and I'm just going to put this on the screen. My problem with Elliott is what is his best position? And that's the thing. He is very flexible. And, we all know that Eddie likes this type of player. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. Great squad player, but do you pay big money for him? And that's what I said.
It's not big money, though, is it? They're talking
Not in today.
35 million. It's not big money at all for a kid with his potential.
No, and like I said,
the problem with us signing Elliott, I tell you what, I think Elliott would be a great player for Leeds to sign for that sort of money.
Well, there's talk about him going abroad, isn't there?
But the point is, it's World Cup, yeah. He's one of the reasons he wants to leave Liverpool is because he wants first team football guaranteed, and he ain't going to get that at Newcastle either.
Yeah. It is going to be. It is going to be one of those situations. It's like a game of tennis at the minute. You hear so many stories. One hits the ball over the net, and you're just waiting for the return. I mean, you're absolutely right. The winners of this battle is going to be Eintracht Frankfurt. You're absolutely right, Iniesta, because they are, like I say, in the driving seat, and it is. But very much at the minute, it seems like it is just going to be an auction for a player.
Phil Middlemass saying if we end up with EKITIKE, the meltdown from the media and Liverpool fans will be hilarious because of the so-called power play they made.
Yeah. And that's what frustrates me. A lot of the media still shout us down as being, the also-rans type of thing, and we are a very small club. And, if we were allowed to spend, I think we would show a lot of players, a lot of teams out there, what force we are now these days. And it's unfortunately the cartel that are stopping that from happening. So, like I said, I do get a little bit peed off of this small club mentality. Right then, let's go on to. Look, I'm just going to put it out there. I'll keep looking, keeping my eye out on anything they're advancing at this present moment in time. We've heard nothing from this supposed second bid that has gone in from any major source, if I'm honest. So I will have a quick keep having a look. And like I say, the only thing that's out there at the moment is Liverpool have contacted Eintracht Frankfurt over a potential move. So we'll keep you posted throughout the day while we're on board. So as we promised, we did talk. We did say we would have a look at some of the new additions that Newcastle have brought in, background staff, and the one thing. Thank you, Gary. Somebody in the chat said second bid has gone in. Yeah, that's what I said. I've seen it that there's a second bid got in, but what I've read, and again, it's paper jargon. Some papers will say that it's close to the 86 million release fee, but until obviously we see it from a reputable source, I'm not going to put anything out there until I see it from a decent source, mate. So let's see where we are. So Jack Ross. Obviously, at Newcastle, head of football strategy. And I know you guys were having a real good conversation, and we said we'd have a bit of a deep delve into Jack Ross. And obviously, looking at Jack's background, born in Falkirk in '76. He played as a defender, midfield across Scottish clubs, Clyde, Falkirk, St Mirren, Hartlepool during his stint in England. Made over 300 professional appearances, known for his reliability and leadership on the pitch. In education, off the field credentials, he holds a master's degree in economics from the Heriot-Watt University. He was a former chairman of the PFA in Scotland and worked with Fifth Pro and the Global Players Union, highlighting his strategic and advocacy skills. So he started his managerial career in Alloa in 2015, took St Mirren to the Scottish Championship title in 2017-18, earning the PFA Scotland Manager of the Year. He obviously managed Sunderland in 18-19, reaching the League One playoff final, led Hibernian to third place finish and 2 cup finals, brief spell at Dundee United before transitioning into off-field roles. And obviously during his Newcastle journey, because obviously that's what we're all interested in, before I move on to that, I wanted to ask you, I looked at this guy's background and I was quite enamoured by actually what he's achieved in lesser clubs. He's obviously a very knowledgeable guy when it comes to strategy. He's a very knowledgeable guy when it comes to tactical awareness.
I think if you can erase the Sunderland chapter of his history,
listen, it is what it is.
But if you can actually bring yourself to remove that, but as you say, he got into the playoff finals when, by the way, they had a crap team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They had a crap team then, and he did well to get them to the playoff finals. No, if you look at his off-field credentials, he's a man to be respected.
Absolutely. And like I say, everybody says it's easy in Scotland. It ain't easy at all when you've not got the players or the finances to do it. So he's obviously, he leads by example. He joined Newcastle in March 23 as head of coach development. He got promoted to the head of strategic technical football partnership. Now, obviously, we've delved into a little bit of that, but a lot of it seems very ITK led. Promoted to the head of strategic technical football partnership, supporting mentorship and talent development. July 25, he was appointed head of football strategy, where he oversees player loans, emerging talent pathways, builds strategic relationships with clubs domestically and internationally, helps shape unified sporting philosophy across men's, women's and academic football. Rossi's blend of tactical experience, academic insight and leadership makes him a fascinating figure in Newcastle's evolving football structure. And for me,
there's one particular section of that I would refer to, which is loan strategy. I think he needs to have a word with Shola, because that's one area that we have been sadly lacking in.
I totally agree. I think when you're absolutely right. For me, the one thing that we have to nail on and we have to get really tight on is what happens to these young uns. And we seem to forget we've got a lot of youngsters coming pre-season that we haven't even shed any light on yet, and we've said it from start to finish. And where they end up going, it could be to the detriment, as we've seen Kowal happen to Kowal, and like I say, we've seen to a degree happen to Pivos.
But Kowal's progress, we're saying this Aussie wonder kid, and virtually destroyed him. And once he's come back into the fold, instead of being away on loan at godforsaken Scottish outposts, he's shown us yet again why it was that we signed him in the first place.
Yeah.
He had a brilliant end to last season. You could argue that Minty going to Feyenoord was a success, and certainly Anderson going to Bristol, where he became the Geordie Messi, and he's since gone on to do, as we all thought he would do, really well at Forest, in line for England call-ups by all accounts. Did really well in the under-21s, under-23s. Which one was it? Under-21s, I think. No, it couldn't have been. Was it? What was the Euros? Under
It was
21s?
23s.
Under 23s. Yeah. So, but apart from them, I think the likes of Joe White, his progress has been massively stunted with what he's been given. I think Jamie Maley. Can you remember we watched Jamie Maley in the pre-season friendly?
Yeah.
Against Hull. There was a pre-season friendly against Hull, and one of the games in Australia when he looked a proper player, and then he's just disappeared. He's at Hartlepool now.
Yeah, that's what I said. A fall from grace, if you like. It is crazy to think how some players look as though they, Harrison Ashby. He seemed to be one of these players that Eddie seemed to really look at and say he could be something in the future, and he just seems to have taken 3 or 4 steps backwards out on loan at QPR. Even can't even get into a championship side. So, there is failings amongst some of these signings, as much as we've seen some really good ones.
You're never going to have 100. First team wise, they've done remarkably well. We haven't had a bummer. But going down the chain, there's been 1 or 2.
Yeah. It is crazy. Hey lads, love your channel from Wales. Thank you ever so much, John Marsden. Come on the tune is his thing. Going on to back to Ross then. Just finish off where we were with him, because obviously you're absolutely right. He's got to get something done regarding the loan situation.
Strategy.
But how does Ross align with the vision of Newcastle? So these are some things. So pathway builder with Amanda Staveley and Darren Eales. He was obviously championing sustainable squad development. So Ross's experience with talent pipelines and loan strategy slots in perfectly. So what obviously Amanda and Darren Eales were obviously striving for and chomping at the bits when Amanda was on board was this sustainable squad development. And obviously, as again, you've got to give Mitchell some applause for what he's brought into the academy, and if you like, the female side. But we've also looking at 3 or 4 players now that are starting to develop and shine. And like I say, the ethos, and I've said it before about playing players above their age group to make them hard, to get them to understand how fast the game can be. And it's preparing them mentally as well as physically for that next step up, which is obviously the first team. So I totally think that pathway builder is a perfect one. And it goes on to culture translator. He understands the pressures of both dressing room and boardrooms, making him an ideal bridge for Howe's footballing philosophy across the wider club ecosystem. And again, because of his managerial background, I think this works in harmony, where you've got somebody with a little bit more management brain, coaching brain, if you like, as well as the broadroom stance where he can actually throw across what Eddie's trying to achieve. I think he fits the bill perfectly. A global connector. As Newcastle deepens ties with feeder clubs and explores the multi-club models, his knowledge of domestic and international landscapes adds value. And again, we've seen in the past that he is, PIF have looked at South American sides, and again, it seems to be one on the back burner at the minute because we've got so much going on. But I think, like I say, he connects really well with his background to what we're trying to do. And then obviously you go on to strategic continuity. He's not a flash hire. Ross come up with through Newcastle's coaching structure, promoting from within, sends a message of stability and trust within the process. And obviously, if the club's long-term vision is about building an integrated modern football machine, Ross feels more like the architect than just another administrator. And I think that, to me, it sums up perfectly. When you say about, you've got to do it, I suppose, a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Because because some fans will just see this as, you know, a promotion within that means very little. But when you start looking into the lad and you see his background and what he's done for himself on the coaching side, then come through the model as he has, with, like I say, being a perfect bridge between boardroom and the dressing room. You know, like you said, he seems as if he's got the perfect attitude and CV to move one step forward, whether it's just one step at a time or whether we do seek to be a wider scale regarding feeder teams and things like that. This lad seems to have a lot in his pocket already, doesn't he?
Yeah. Like I say, you know, if you can put aside his Sunderland connection, he's got all the right. But there again, that's exactly what was said about Mitchell. And but you know, he's been here now. He seems to have settled in. I particularly like the ethos bit. That he's, you know, his one of his fortes is developing the team ethos, team spirit, which, as you know, I think is paramount.
Yeah.
If you haven't got everybody pulling in, which is why I say, listen, if Isak wants to go to Liverpool, good riddance. We only want players here who are fully committed to the cause, and that might sound harsh, but that's the way it's got to be. That's what's got us where we are now.
Yeah.
Everybody pulling in the same direction. And if somebody
I agree.
comes along like Mitchell, who prevents that happening, sorry, buddy, there's the door.
Yeah.
Interested. Steve Bunce, our illustrious performance director, who, incidentally, you've never heard Eddie say a bad word about. So even though he was one of Mitchell's boys, Eddie seems to get along perfectly well with him. He's been talking in Austria. And this, again, is about ethos. He says, you know, we played Carlisle, just getting the lads moving again. So they've had that well-deserved break, some longer than others. Here in Austria, the very secluded location allows us to have time together in privacy. It's not just about the training and the warm climate. It allows us to have a lot of time together. We've got new players and new staff in with us. It allows us time for bonding, allows us time to go through all the stuff that isn't only on the pitch, but it's off the pitch. The team building, the connectivity. Taking a lot of time in meetings to start work on the tactical preparation for what is obviously going to be a massive season for us. And then, obviously, the work on the pitch is the foundation of what we've got to deliver. Wise words from Steve Bunce, and not a hint of controversy anywhere.
No, and that's the beauty of it, you know. And we all questioned whether, obviously, because it was Mitchell that brought Bunce on board, wasn't it? We all questioned whether Bunce would also move aside, as the under-21s coach seemed to as well, which was another Mitchell signing, if you like. And listen, you know, I can't fault anybody for going in and improving themselves if it's a step up. And it seems to be with that. I can never say his blooming name, but you know who I mean. It just seems as if we have got somebody now at the helm of the fitness side that seems to be spot on. And like I say, with this Mr. Ross coming on board, and obviously we've got this new guy, and like I say, I'm going to let you do your little bit of background on our set piece coach, because you had a great article which was from a Danish newspaper, I believe. And I read it. It's very long.
It is.
So like I say, we're going to skip the majority of it. We're just going to give you the heads up if anybody's had a chance to read it.
I did actually post the link to that article in the forum.
Right, so there you go. If you, like I say, if you want to have a deep read into it, it is worth a read. But like I say, we are going to skip to the juicy bits, so I'll let you fire away with that.
So basically, FC Midtjylland in Holland, who've won they won the title in 23, 24, 19, 20, 17, 18 and 14, 15. Martin Mark, who was the set piece coach that we've just signed, joined them in 16, 17. And he noticed that since they won the title, the amount of goals they were scoring from set pieces had significantly dropped. So he set about instilling, if you like, a set piece mentality into the whole club. And now the whole club revolves around particular interest in set pieces. The manager buys into it. The players, when they join the club, buy into it. There's graphs and charts all over the training pitch about not just attacking set pieces, but defending set pieces. And they spend a considerable amount of that training working on set pieces. And that's resulted in figures. Well, they went on through. They won the league the next year. Then 2 years later, then they won it in 23, 24 again. And on all of these occasions, the goals that they scored from set pieces massively outdid the goals they conceded from set pieces. And basically, they've built their team around set pieces. And so we have, he's widely acknowledged as the best, one of the best in Europe. And we've got him. So it'll be interesting to see, because if you remember when Eddie first came, and indeed when he was at Bournemouth, their corners were always interesting. You know, rarely did Bournemouth just sling a corner, you know, in for somebody to nut in. And he particularly goes into the second ball syndrome. And from a corner, they like to make it a two-man move, because by involving the second man, the theory is that it can't be predicted, because you don't know if you've got two men, or sometimes even three men. Although he does go on, he does stress that if you try to do it with three, it becomes much more complicated. But even if the defence have to worry about, you know, the first thing they've got to worry about, which one of the two is going to get the ball, and that immediately takes thinking time. Whereas the attacking team know exactly what's going to happen when either one of them get the ball, and they also know which one is going to get the ball from signalling that they come up with. And other coaches in Denmark have been trying to decipher the signalling system that they use, but they are very, very successful at set pieces. And, you know, it's a massive part of the game these days, especially as we have discovered to our cost against low block teams.
Low block, yeah, exactly.
You know, when you've got a Bruno who can, you know, he gets more fouls than anybody else, mainly around the edge of the box. If you've then got set pieces, innovative set pieces, which can create big problems, it could be a massive advantage. I mean, it's only, was it last season? I think it was. Not the season just gone, but particularly the season before. When Sky cameras were forever focusing on Arsenal's set-piece coach. Because they were incredibly successful. You know, they were calling them set-piece FC. Because the only time they could score a goal, it would appear, was at times was from a set-piece. But if you can, huge advantage. So fingers crossed that he can come and do the business against Premier League defences as opposed to just against Danish defences.
Translate. There you go. I'll have me some of that.
There's a couple of super chats that
I'm just looking on Sky Sports Germany. I've had to put it on because my German's bloody awful. I've seen in the chat.
Good Deutsch.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of chats, and Alan put it in that there's a second bid of 100 million euros gone in, but I'm not sure whether that's obviously Newcastle.
Oh,
or
I need to have a
from
look
Liverpool.
at that in 2 secs.
So I'm just having a quick, because obviously we know the first bid had gone woeful. English champs prepare an initial offer of 100 to 150 for the Swede. They're talking about Isak on that one.
Isak bid.
Newcastle prepares second offer for EKITIKE, and that's all it's got really. That's from Florian Plettenberg, who's the Sky reporter. But that was this morning, so I'm going to have a quick update on that to see if there's anything else.
This is on field.
So,
No,
according to the lads, they're Sky Sports Germany reporting 100 million euros second bid gone in, which
But
I'm
Chris-
sure,
Chris-
if
Chris
that's right, that's
Chris-
that's
Chris
86 million pounds.
Yeah, Chris is that's his release clause, 100 million.
That's what I'm saying.
Chris has just sent a message saying that he's seen it online.
Yeah.
100
That was
million
4 hours
euros
ago.
bid.
Yeah, that was 4 hours ago, apparently.
No, that's 1519. That's
No,
like now. He's just sent it now.
Yeah. No, Chris is. Yeah, I'm saying Steve is saying it was 4 hours ago on
great.
Sky Sports. So that's it works out.
Well, there you
release
go.
clause,
So
yeah, exactly. So if that's true, then we've obviously matched what they wanted for him on the release clause. And again, I haven't seen that officially come up on anything yet. So again, you don't know what's within this contract clause. So
we'll have a little bit light relief. Phil Middlemaster saying, "How do you end up supporting the Toon, Gary?"
I was born up there, lad.
I'm in Wolverhampton, but I'm from the northeast. I just noticed the yam yang tag in the Midland accent.
Yeah, exactly. I was born in Monk Seaton. But I mean, when I go up and spend time with Win, it soon comes back, like, you know. But yeah, it's weird. I get criticised all the time. That's why I call myself the Geordie Yam Yam, because I was brought up in Walsall. Well, obviously not far from yourself, but if you're in Wolverhampton. So I've got Wolverhampton. Oh. So yeah, I'm a black country lad. Obviously, everybody calls me a Brummie. I fucking hate that. It's like calling Toon boys Mackhams. You know what I mean? You just get. But anyway, there you go. I am literally from the northeast, very similar to you. But I've spent all my life in the Midlands, to be fair. But home is always the other side of that bridge, and it's really weird. Phil saying he's the same.
DJ, I wonder if Howe will trust the youth this season. I'd like to see Travis Hearns fill in for Longstaff if only Howe will take the risk. Well, there's a few before Travis Hearns in the pecking order from the youth team.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there was mixed reports of him being, when he was out, obviously in Denmark on loan, saying that he's had quite a bit of a rough time and he wasn't really showing anything. And yet you read other reports saying what a potential this lad's got. Now, he's with the first team. He's training with the first team. You saw him, obviously, in Austria with the lads. Doesn't mean a lot because you saw Ashby as well. But, I mean, you've got to say he's got to show something. What's that? Next 1st April, we should have a show with Gary doing a Geordie accent and Win a Birmingham accent.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. That'll be class.
Geordie Dan saying, I want Asula to get a proper run out. I think he will get more time this season. Even if we're saying EKITIKE, I still think Asula will get...
well, like I said, there's over 60 games. Yeah. You've got to think.
Well, I'm not just talking about maybe his full games, but coming on.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's 60 plus games if you go far in the competitions.
Certainly with Isak, who I still think's made of glass, we've got to manage the workloads properly. We can't burn them all out. No. Because if you do that, you then get to the back end of the season when you're playing the games that matter. And they're knackered.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the
We
thing, isn't
are
it?
knackered.
We are knackered. Isak will join the biggest in the world, says Bol McBrebin. I think he's already with them. We've signed him.
Yeah.
Asula has looked good for Denmark last few games. You're absolutely right. And this is what I said. We have got to start looking at
Denmark under 23s.
Yeah, but again, I keep saying it. You've got to shine at your age level. You know what I mean? And if you're in the same as everybody else, it doesn't mean nothing. Just gonna have a quick look to see if there's anything else come up on Liverpool. Are going to end up with Mateta. There's somebody in the chat.
Well, again, they could do worse. I rate Mateta.
Yeah.
I think if he was given good service, which he'll certainly get, I think he would do better than he'd finish more of his chances than Nunes does.
Yeah, Mr. Hughes, who's obviously somebody rates at Liverpool, apparently was very close to signing Nicholas Jackson before he went to Chelsea. A big admirer of Nicholas Jackson. So apparently he was nearly a Liverpool player. Because apparently, all I'm saying to you is it is what it is. Sometimes you see not always what you expect. What's the Sesko for me, says Derek Sharp. Well, I think that's the other thing, isn't it? You know, if I'd love to see EKITIKE here, but if he does decide to jump ship and move on somewhere else, then there is other players out there of a similar ilk. So I wouldn't be too problematic with that either, Sesko. What a forward line again! You're thinking about supporting it. It is weird. Have you got anything else regarding?
I'm just desperately trying to find an update on. I mean, the Chronicle was 27 minutes ago. Newcastle are up and running, but it doesn't say that they've put the £100 million bid in.
No. Like I say,
€100 million bid.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on German, but like I say, my German isn't fantastic, but it is what it is, and there's still nothing out there regarding, like I say, apart from Liverpool now, obviously also taking a bit of an admiration. That's all I've got. DJ LFC just take the money. I wonder if the chairman Piff were furious at Liverpool trying to use a power move and said, "Pay the release clause." Don't mess with our owners.
Well, that's I would love it.
Love it
if that was the case.
Yeah, it would be perfect.
Just saying, who do you think you? Oh, Bush, 100 million, take it,
grab it. Yeah. So, like I said, apparently, by all accounts, and again, I haven't. He's agreed personal terms. It literally is now.
Well, that was the personal terms were allegedly agreed. Beginning of the week.
Yeah, that's what I said. All that's all sorted and everything else. So it is now just trying to find this structure. But if they've just thrown in the 100 million and it's the 86 million release clause, then well done. Whoever has pushed the sanction.
And if they have they said that the two club representatives who'd gone to Germany were Andy Howe and Steve Nixon.
Yeah.
And they got the Alanga deal over the line, so power to their elbow.
Exactly. But like I say, there is there's still very little
nothing
updated,
official.
nothing at all, nothing official. Lots
no
of people
clickbait here.
No, a lot of people. Just looking at this now on YouTube, EKITIKE only wants NUFC. New Isak contract incoming. That's again,
when was that?
That's like I say, it's just somebody putting it out there. It's no point. There's a lot of people that have started to. Didn't you say yesterday on the show? Hugo EKITIKE only wants Newcastle.
Yeah, because but again, it's like Isak praising Anfield. This was in February 24, and the quote that I had was, where is it? Let's have a look. I don't put aside everything Newcastle did to get me to come. If I had to go abroad, I would have gone there. But when PSG wants you and you're French, you can't refuse.
You can't refuse.
That was what EKITIKE said. But he said it, 2 years ago when he went to France.
Yeah. Good article by Luke Edwards. I know he has his critics. Newcastle and Liverpool go to war over EKITIKE amid Isak hands-off warning. In response to unwanted approach from this Swedish striker, Newcastle want to deliver a power play of their own, which goes literally in line from what you guys were saying before about who's sanctioned this as Piff pushed the barrel and said, "Listen, we're not going to be bullied by anybody. We're going to go for it."
I would love to think so.
Which would be fantastic. So again, guys,
who knows? Who knows? It might be as a result of having got the dash in for Sean Longstaff.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That might have just been the right. Okay, we've got that. Get rid of it.
But that's why I said it would. Because don't forget, we didn't buy anything in January because as was forecast then, and again. We have no crystal ball.
Well, 3 windows we've had now.
Yeah, but I mean, in January we're supposed to have had 60 million or thereabouts to play with, and everybody was saying we're going to get this, get that, get the other, and we ended up getting nobody, as you saw. And then from there, you've got to ask yourself:
got nobody, and still ended up winning a cup and finishing in the Champions League.
Champions League, yeah, exactly. And again, you look at it now. We've got. Obviously, Elanga, and to be fair, from what I've seen from that boy since he's been on board, and really interesting one, and I don't want to be an ICK, but what do you think? Because there was obviously he was in his car saying to his mate Aina at Nottingham Forest, and Aina was obviously quite upset. He's going to miss him and everything else, and he wished him well for his future at Newcastle, and it was really I'd love Aina.
Listen. I love Aina as well.
I would absolutely love that lad to come in.
And it wouldn't it be ironic if, because as Martin was saying from the Mancunian way last night, Man City are definitely monitoring the Livramento situation.
Yeah, well, somebody had written in
although he reckons that City have been quoted 80 million for Tino.
Well, it was really funny.
So,
there was somebody reporting 167 million for Tino.
167 million? No, I mean, that's just bollocks, that. But 80 million, I think that's perfectly reasonable to me.
Oh, absolutely.
With his age and everything. Not only that, but were we to sell him, Aina would be absolutely perfect replacement.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And he'd be playing again behind Elanga, so they've got that. They would have that
relationship already.
Yeah.
And that's, you've got to think about the system. Like I said,
if we're saying we've got to be better sellers and all. And by the way, before everybody gets on and starts hammering us, I love Tino. I fucking love him. So I'm not. I don't want to sell. I think we should get past this habit of being a selling club. I know everybody's saying you've got to sell good, etc., to grow, and nah. Let's get a squad together first.
Yeah, I'm with Yano on this one. If we miss out on EKITIKE, at least we can put bed the rumours that our owners have lost interest. As long as they're happy, we get targets over the line, and I think that's it. You can see that there is obviously evidence now that there is support there.
Well, I would certainly go along with that if, as we've just sort of alluded to, we've actually gone in with the £100 million bid. I still haven't seen it anywhere.
No, I haven't either.
I can't find it.
But like I say,
from what you would call a reputable source.
I do. There's some great stuff out on X at the minute, floating around. It really is. It is comical to read and watch. And there is, like I say, I mean,
Predator here is in. He's saying Forest won't sell him when their fans are all up in arms over Alanga and now Gibbs White.
Gibbs White,
Yeah. But the point is, as we know, it doesn't matter what the fans think.
and it doesn't matter what
And
the
it doesn't
club
matter
do
what
as
the
well.
club think either.
No,
If
exactly.
a player wants to go, if he gets his head turned, there's very little the club can do to stop him. Sadly, that's the way of the world.
Here we go. Ron's just come in here. Manchester United have reached out apparently to EKITIKE in an attempt to beat Newcastle to his signature. They would consider a player push cash bid for the striker. Interesting, because obviously rumours are that I read this morning that Eintracht Frankfurt are already in the market to buy a striker. They've bid for a player, and obviously they are expecting EKITIKE to leave. So, like I say, they're already going for it, don't they? So that just shows you where they're at when it comes to their mentality. For EKITIKE, it's a case of he's gone. Let's move on. Before we leave, and I don't know who it was in the chat, and I apologise. Obviously, we've lots of rumours out there. Again, Football 365 have put one out there about us putting a cheeky offer in for Real Madrid striker Hendrik if we don't get EKITIKE over the line. I'm not sure whether there's any truth behind this. Again, 18-year-old wonder kid. Is he one of these players? I mean, he's a sensational prospect, but is he something that you think there is truth behind this? Because obviously we've seen lots of rumours flying around. Some of it is a total BS, but some of it ain't. And like I say, Football 365 seem to think that Hendrik has had a bit of a nod towards the Newcastle.
Well, I you heard it here first. Everybody said I was crackers on Monday. Where I'd seen the report that would approached Madrid. You can't get a game.
No. So it is
World Cup, yeah. Can come and play with Bruno and J7.
Yeah. Gareth Hales here is saying apparently Isak to Liverpool terms have been agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I said. There's some amazing stuff, and you're absolutely right. You've got to start asking yourself, Man United can't even get Mbeumo over the line. So how the
well in terms of Man United offering a player plus cash to Eintracht
Rowley saying
Frankfurt.
it was on De Bild and Sky Germany apparently, but I've just had a look on Sky Germany online. And like I say, 11 o'clock, they're awaiting a second bid. It hasn't been updated since. So I just wanted to throw it out there, Rowley. But yeah, I mean, I'm so glad. Like I say, I'm not calling any of you guys, ITKs or anything like that. There's obviously lots of truth behind it. But it is going to be an interesting next couple of hours. So like I say, watch this space, please. Hit the bell, because if it gets done, if it gets the thumbs up, we will obviously come online live and talk about the deal, and we'll go from there. But at this present moment in time, there is nothing else to report apart from what's already out there, and everybody's just by the looks of it adding their little bits of insight, which isn't a great way of getting information across, unfortunately. Even Newcastle Argentina are pouring it out there, which is crazy. Just thought Liverpool EKITIKE. No, that's not one either. So sorry, I have no further updates.
Nope.
Derek Sharp saying Isak staying, Liverpool in for a second choice. Yeah, there you go. I agree with you, mate. I don't think Isak will go this window, unless there's a bid that you can't say no to. You can never say no in this day and age. But it would take a hell of a thing for Liverpool to sum the money up, I think, having spent already over 200 million in this transfer.
Well, again, if you listen to a few of the Liverpool pods, the money doesn't appear to be a problem.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Liverpool, when you think about it, Liverpool have spent, since our takeover, Liverpool, before this window, had spent just marginally more than we've spent.
Yeah.
And their turnover is like 200 million
More.
a year more. So,
Yeah.
They've got 200 million a year more salary. Well, they haven't got, they've got a lot more salaries than we've got.
Yeah, but
But they've still. I think there's still scope for Liverpool to,
go throw in
the money's there if they wanted to. If they wanted to pay the 150 for Isak, I think they've got it.
Okay.
Whether
So
they can then afford his whatever 300,000 a week wages, they've got.
That's probably what they're trying to do, though, isn't it? They're trying to just upset
when you
the
think
apple cart.
they've already got Salah, Van Dijk on huge wages. Obviously, Wurst coming in is going to be on massive wages.
Yeah.
In fact, just out of interest, let's have a quick Liverpool.
Trollsy saying it's not enough. 150 million isn't enough. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's still contracted to Newcastle for another 3 years. And that's the issue, isn't it? It's like I said, as we've seen with Gyökeres, it's not the contract isn't worth the paper it's written on if the player wants to leave. And like I said, I think a lot of this now is trying to doubt the fire. If Isak's happy, like a lot of his statements say he's happy at Newcastle, then I can just
360 million a year, Liverpool's salary bill.
Yeah, that's a decent wedge already. Yeah. Right then, boys and girls, lads, lasses and bairns, that's it. Like I say, thank you all for spending this afternoon with us. It's been a pleasure as always. Like I say, please, if you haven't already, smash them thumbs up, like, subscribe if you haven't already. Help us achieve our next goal. And like I say, we are back as soon as there's any news live.
If anything happens, we will be live.
Back. So like I say,
but if not,
it's
Thursday.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
9 o'clock.
9:30. No, is it 9 o'clock tomorrow?
I think it's 9 o'clock for you tomorrow, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm heading the show because Chris is doing it late, isn't he? So yes, please, like I say, smash the likes, hit the bell, because like I say, we will be live with you. And if I don't see you before, I'll see you tomorrow. So it's a goodbye from him.
And it's a goodbye from him. How are the lads?
Lassies and bairns. See you on the next one.
Ciao.